Okay, so this is my first tattoo, and as you can see, it's a very simple one. Because it was my first, I didn't want to do anything fancy, but I always wanted to get something bigger and something that can relate to me. But having an idea is one thing, getting it done perfectly requires a good tattoo artist. So a few years back, I got to know a guy who does things a little bit differently. Meet Uditha.
Hi, so my name is Uditha, Uditha Rangana. I'm from Colombo, Sri Lanka. I've been a tattoo artist for about a decade now, and professionally it's about 5 years that I started my studio. I do something called fine line tattoos, fine line and single needle tattoos. I've been doing that for a couple of years now. I'll explain to you what is fine line tattoos, actually why it's different from other tattoos. Normally when you are doing a tattoo, your artists normally use a bit of a thicker needles for your lines and stuff. So normally, generally artists use in the industry is like 5RL, 9RL. So RLs are like, a round liner. So 5RLs means there's 5 needles in it. 9RL means there's 9 needles. So fine line tattoos actually comes below 3RL. So it goes like 3RL, 3 tights, and like, then you get like single needle tattoos, that's only 1 needle. And why it's different from other tattoos is like, the needles are very thin and it's not for everyone to do. Like, everybody can't do fine line tattoos. Main reason is because of the thinness of the needle. Your hands has to be very steady. You have less room for error, and you can't be too loud with the tattoo. It has to be a bit minimalistic, and there's a lot to actually for the fine line tattoos. What we can achieve from fine line tattoos is basically we can get a bit of a realistic look. It's more like, there's a couple of styles called fine line and micro realisms. So micro realisms also, they use very thin needles, and the tattoos are very small but very detailed, and you can add like shadings and like different kind of details into all these tattoos. And the details are very intricate. That's the main point. It's very intricate. You have to be seasoned to become a fine line tattoo artist. Just because you can use a thin needle, you can't really get the exact proper result out of fine line tattoos. Because the needles are super thin, it's very easy for the needle to damage the skin because it's thin. So you have to really know what you are doing. Otherwise you won't be able to execute a proper single needle or a fine line tattoo. You might end up with a scar, you might end up with blowouts, stuff like that. Why do I like fine line tattoos? That's very important, because I do like to put a lot of details into my artwork sometimes, and it doesn't I don't like to do I prefer doing smaller and detailed tattoos than bigger tattoos. Just my personal preferences. Let's talk about what inspires me to do these designs, what my designs are basically inspired on. So mostly what I like to do is Sri Lankan art, that comes in the history, most of things like Liaval filigrees and Makara and sat up in the stuff like that comes in the ancient culture of Sri Lanka. So I really love doing all of that stuff. They are very beautiful, and I like to. So I put a little bit of a twist, like a modern twist into it, and yeah. So I love to do that kind of stuff.
So the idea behind my tattoo is to be related to me. It should have a meaning. So I told Uditha I want it to be an owl. Why an owl, you ask? It's a good question. Let me tell you why. Did you know that owls have eye tubes that go far back into their skulls, which means their eyes are fixed in place, so they have to turn their heads to see. Just like when I use my camera, if I need to see things through it, I have to turn towards what I need to capture. Owls are also masters to be hidden. The colors and markings on their feathers let them blend with their surroundings. I call myself Hidden Dutchman for a similar reason too. I also like to blend into wherever I am to get very natural looking shots rather than the usual things we see. An interesting fact about owls is, in ancient Greece, the little owl was the companion of Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom, which is one reason why owls symbolize learning and knowledge. So may I introduce to you Hedwig. Yes, I know that name must be a familiar word for some of you. It's because it's Harry Potter's owl's name. I'm a huge fan of that movie franchise, and I think it's the perfect name to give my tattoo.